Giles, everything's just been so... Xander left Anya at the altar, and Anya's a vengeance demon again. Dawn's a total klepto. Money's been so tight that I've been slinging burgers at the Double Meat Palace. And I've been sleeping with Spike.
Do you remember how happy and excited I was for season 6? Do you remember this person? She was so oblivious to what Joss was going to unleash. There are some parts of this season which are amazing, like the musical episode, which I know some people will probably hate, but I live for campiness, so it's very much my sort of thing. I really enjoyed it. But seeing red, I just need to say those 2 words to you, and you know exactly what's going on here, and you already know the trigger warnings I'm gonna have to bring up, right? Yeah, wow, this was a lot. Same with Angel season 3, that was a lot too. So Angel and Darla have a baby because of his slip, we'll call it that, in the last season, which... okay. And he becomes the cluckiest dad that ever did dad, honestly. Very, very overbearing. And do you remember how I said about Cordelia and Angel's friendship being good and how you could see that they've got a connection, but like it was really good as a friendship? And then look what happens. So yeah, also side note, I don't like it when shows always just try and pair people off just because they're in the same proximity. So now we've got like 2 couples and then Wesley on the side. I'm going to be giving spoilers for this season and anything prior. We're talking about season 6 of Buffy and season 3 of Angel and anything before that. Anything after, out of bounds. So trigger warnings, because this season is a lot. Wow, this season is a lot. Sadly, we have to talk about death and abuse and abusive relationships and grape. I will have to censor myself a lot, and also addiction. Addiction will be right at the end as we talk about a certain witch. By the way, I am so right. I am so right with my theming. I wanted to have a cool look because I wanted Willow to look really cool, and instead we just get eyeliner squiggles and black contact lenses and like a dusty wardrobe. Like, I know it's in like dark colors, but it was not wow like when she was a vampire. That was cool. So this is what I was thinking for witchiness out of what I've got, but it's mostly about like the makeup, obviously, with me. I was just wanting a bit more. You know, imagine this with like the black contact lenses, and then we could like maybe have blood come down. Oh, that would be very cool. But they did dye her hair, I think, which is a big risk. That would have been a lot for the hairdresser to rescue from. Wow. I can't talk about everything, but the themes I want to focus on are Xander, maturity of the letdown child. Yes, we're finally talking about Xander. The revenge of the geeks, or incel power. Daddy darling and growing pains. Magic's the new hot drug for vengeance. Enemies to lovers is not like this. And afterlife. Death was the escape, but now it's time for reality. Reality really sucks in comparison to heaven, huh?
This husband thing. It's a big step. Or a lot of little ones. And I love you so much. I just want every step to be just right.
Xander, maturity of the letdown child. Remember how angry I was in season 5 finale when Xander proposed? Yeah, it was the wrong move to make, and I'm glad that they actually addressed this in this season. Jumping into a marriage at their level of maturity was the absolute worst call. It's like playing pretend adults. But he started to realize this. He realized this before she did, but did so kind of subconsciously, almost like he was trying to sabotage it by not actually announcing their engagement, even though the excuse was weak, to say the least.
I'm sick of waiting to tell everyone about us.
We've talked about this. We can't announce our engagement while things are so up in the air.
Why not? It's happy news. Happy news in hard times is a good thing.
I mean, she wants to tell everyone, but he won't let that happen until it gets revealed in the Halloween episode.
We're getting married.
Oh my God. Congratulations. That's... wow. You're very lucky, finding a guy like him.
Not as lucky as me.
And during Once More with Feeling, which is so brilliant, I know some people will hate it, but Not me, I'm a fan. Xander's fears are genuine and they both share struggles and uncertainties, but they can't talk about it, instead slapping on like this false facade, which is something that a lot of couples do. So I think it was really good that that got addressed in this way.
She's also really greedy. She never...
His eyes are beating.
This is my verse, hello.
He's swell.
She's sweller.
He'll always be my feller.
That's why I'll never tell her that I'm petrified.
Whilst people may say that Anya is too stressed about keeping up with timelines and wanting to know where the relationship is going, that was honestly 100% me. I was definitely like this, and I think it's something that women in particular can struggle with, but also Anya was literally a demon in the past and she had infinite amount of time to live, and now she's human. It's like everything needs to happen right now. If you struggle with this sort of thing, I've got 2 videos I would recommend to you. One is Life Ends at 30, or this one over here, and the other one is about legacy, because those are the 2 things which can really screw people's brains up. So there's those 2 videos, I'll link them down below for you.
Well, I look good when I've gotten old. When I get so worn and wrinkly that I look like David Brinkley.
So it's understandable why she's panicking. She's a very ambitious girl after all, as is shown with her possessiveness of the magic shop.
Inventory, it's my personal collection.
Uh-huh. Aren't you Mr. Dicey Semantics? It's not what you think you can just take anything you want? Give it.
No, you give it. Ow! 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 Ow!
Okay, when I'm marveling at the immaturity, be scared.
With Xander, jumping in further, I think, was to create something solid, to be able to be an adult TM, whereas it can't really happen yet as neither of them are actually ready. His parents are terrible people, and he gets shown this grim fake future where she's unhappy and he's a bad person like his dad, and so he opts out of the wedding. Now, should he have left her there and this unfold how it did? No, absolutely not. This was heartbreaking.
What was it? What was it about me? Because he wanted you to hate me, Xander.
It wasn't you. It wasn't you I was hating.
Also, I just have to mention for a second, whilst it was heartbreaking, it wasn't as heartbreaking as how ugly those bridesmaid dresses were. Wow. But also, Anya's wedding dress is so perfect 2000s. Oh, I really like, it gave me major nostalgia vibes, and her hair was as crunchy as it would have been in the 2000s, okay? When you went somewhere or had an event, your hair was meant to look like that, which was very crunchy. But it's after this point that he actually starts to reflect and become more self-aware. It took that hard realization to do so, but his heart is so much more open now. He's much more human and understanding from this point onwards. And most of all supportive without being as judgmental as he was constantly previously, which also really grated at me.
Does it hurt?
God, yes. It hurts so bad, it's killing me. Anya, I love you. I want to make this work.
Those are metaphor intestines. You're not in any real pain.
He's our final hero as well, because it's his humanity, his unconditional love, his willingness to face every demon that means that he can actually pull Willow back from causing the end of the world.
It's just, where else am I gonna go? You've been my best friend my whole life. We're all gonna end. Where else would I want to be?
Is this the master plan? You're gonna stop me by telling me you love me?
Well, I was gonna walk you off a cliff and hand you an anvil, but seemed kind of cartoony.
It took Xander actually reaching his own maturity to be able to be useful, if we want to use that phrase, in comparison to the rest of the Scooby Gang, because everyone else has their skills. Xander's skill is his humanity. I really do hope to see more of this in season 7. Like, granted, he's not my favourite character, I think that you all know that, but at least now I no longer want to squeeze the life out of him like I did last time.
Dawn, the hardest thing in this world is to live in it. Is this hell?
Afterlife. Death was an escape, but now it's time for reality, and it sucks.
Workers are the tools that shape America.
Good to know. I was kind of feeling like a tool. And now I know why.
Oh, Buffy. Oh, ouch. This was hard.
It's different.
A little. Willow and Tara live here now. And, we We didn't do much.
Now, I do get how sad everybody is, and what did I tell you about Dawn struggling? Granted, she didn't get given up for foster care, but instead she gets raised kind of like by Buffy bot. Like, the psychological damage of this child. This is what I was trying to raise last time. Oh my gosh, no wonder that she becomes a kleptomaniac and starts stealing stuff. No wonder she creates this really unhealthy relationship with a robot. And it's just, oh, it really does break my heart. I feel so much for Dawn. But we do luckily have Spike protecting her a lot, but I'm going to be talking about Spike and Buffy soon enough, don't you worry. Now, the Scooby Gang all agree with a lot of pressure from Willow to actually bring Buffy back.
This is deep stuff, Willow. We're talking about raising the dead.
It's time we stop talking. Tomorrow night.
Thinking that she's in some sort of hell, and they want to rescue her and make sure that nobody knows that she's gone as to not trigger a new Slayer. But I really, really wanted Faith to be reinstated. Oh, I want more Faith. I love Faith. I would have loved to see her own arc. Okay, I know that she's doing the redemption thing, and I just want to see that. That's what I want anyway. But okay, cool, whatever. But Joss apparently didn't, or maybe Eliza actually had better things to do. She probably did. Eliza's a fantastic actress. So they cast a spell, and the news has spread that Buffy is no longer there. Luckily, Willow has her magic, but that spell really took it out of her. Buffy has to crawl out of her own grave, and she has to come to terms with the grim reality of the world. She is scared and confused, as where she is now, it looks like actual hell. It's dark, and there's fire and torture, and it's scary. She was safe before, in heaven. And like, one of her first questions is this hell? So do you remember in season 5 when Spike said that every Slayer has a death wish? And Buffy kind of recoiled from that. She didn't really want to admit it, but it kind of got proven right? Like, her willingness to sacrifice herself and not have to actually be like with all of the weight of the world, all of the responsibility, looking after Dawn, stopping literal apocalypse after apocalypse. Like, that release would have been good. At least. Maybe ignore my framing of it there, but now what she gets in this season, it's not a nice happy welcome home, it's a reality sucks welcome home.
Wherever I was happy. At peace. I knew that everyone I cared about was all right. I knew it. I was torn out of there. Pulled out by my friends. This is hell.
Now, she returns to reality, which she was forced back to by her friends, and worse, they live at her house without paying, it seems, because they don't have jobs, right? So they're just using up Joyce's money, but you know, don't worry, Buffy now has to get a job.
You and I will sit down together and we'll go through everything. Every bill, one by one. We'll work it out together.
I'm glad you're back.
Well, I'm glad you are too.
Of course, working in the service industry at the Double Meat Palace will definitely mean that she'll be able to afford to feed herself, Dawn, Willow, and Tara, and pay the mortgage on the house and all the other expenses on that one salary. Huh, yeah? Yeah, totally. That is absolutely a thing. Even in 2002, this was not possible. It's interesting that they decided to put her there, maybe to make the hatred towards her friends stronger, maybe to kind of like reinforce the fact that what was done should have stayed done, because Buffy's life after she comes back this time does not get better overall. Everything gets worse, objectively.
Easy. We burn the house to the ground and collect the insurance. Plus fire, pretty.
I can completely understand her with feeling numb with everything. She's come back to a worse life. It makes sense why she can relate to Spike, which again, we will get into.
Still I always feel the strangest estrangement. Nothing here is real, nothing here is right. I've been making shows of trading blows, just hoping no one knows that I've been going through the motions, walking through the part.
But her reveal, and again, once more with feeling, is my little heart.
There was no pain, no fear, no doubt, till they pulled me out of hell.
Revealing that you'd rather be dead than alive? That is some dark stuff to bring up. Then her ex turns up, Riley, who I thought I was done with, but no, he returns now to show her how much worse off her life is, and he's gotten married to his superior. Where is HR in the 2000s? That's what I want to know, because it hasn't been that long. It was 147 days that Buffy had been passed, and so maybe, oh my god, they must have known each other for like a year, maybe?
Just so you know, I'm prepared to hate this woman any way you want. Thanks, but no. I don't want to seem all petty. Well, that's the beauty. You can't, but I can.
She's in a dead-end job, she loses a friend, she gets shot, and she gets into a terrible relationship. So the question really is, was it even worth it for Buffy? It wasn't worth it for her to come back. I personally don't think so. And it's this entire struggle that she deals with the whole time.
I'm free. Free of rules and reports. Free of this life.
Free of life. Got another name for that. Dead.
Feeling like there must be something wrong with her for what Spike can obviously do as well, for feeling about this darkness, and there's this constant shroud around her now. But, you know, obviously having Buffy back works best for her friends and everyone around her, because now they can use her again, which is possibly why she starts to use somebody else. Which leads me to...
A man can change.
You're not a man. You're a thing.
Oh, the pain. The pain is gone. Guess what I just found out? Looks like I'm not as toothless as you thought, sweetheart.
How?
Don't you get it? Don't you see? You came back wrong.
And the only person that I can even stand to be around is a neutered vampire who cheats at kitten poker.
Get dressed if you can find your clothes and push off, because if I can't have all of you, I'd rather... Hey, that's cheating.
Sid and Nancy is not relationship goals, okay? To quote Dane Cook, of all people, it's not a relationship, it's a relationship. We love a good enemies to lovers story. Absolutely, like, it's one of my favorite things to watch when it comes to rom-coms and whatever. I love them. Great. This is not that. This is a terrible relationship. I don't even want to call it that because it's really not. I'm positive that there are people that still stand Buffy after this point. For me personally, I can't, and I will be talking about it in this. What happened in this show is canon, and I can see the two trains of thought here, right? Because you have the fans who can actually see the foundation of a really good relationship, because that's definitely me. Like, they actually understand each other. There is this kindred spirit almostness. Like, sure, you can say, like, appealing to the dark side in each other and whatever, and like she makes him better and blah 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 blah. But there is actual genuine support, and he cares for not only her but Dawn, and actually sticks by his word and does all this stuff. So there was actually a whole bunch to build on. Like, that was already there. And then we have Joss's vendetta. So we know how much Joss hates James Masters and how popular he was, and so he kind of went on this punishment spree ever since like season 2. So you had him become effectively impotent, you turned him into a wife beater, and also turned him into a sex bot lover, okay? Yeah. So when it comes down to all of the things he's done previously to humiliate and try and turn people off him, when people are still rooting for it, he's like, okay, I'm gonna make him the worst person ever. This is my theory anyway, because honestly I don't see how you can get past the episode seeing red and want them to end up together. It doesn't make sense to me. The episode in itself didn't make sense because you could tell that they didn't really want to do it, especially not James. Like, I could sense from his acting, because he's actually a pretty good actor, like you could tell that he didn't want to do it and he couldn't really get into character, so to speak. Ooh, that sounds bad, but you know what I mean. It's like, it felt really off.
Ask me again why I could never love you.
Buffy, my God, I didn't...
Because I stopped you.
And it turns out, because I spoke to one of you about it actually on Instagram, if you ever want to have a chat with me, Instagram is always linked down below, saying that the actors didn't want that to happen as well. So the things that happened in Seeing Red, so I do understand both sides, but this is canon. What happened is canon. And Buffy wasn't good to him either, okay? It's not on the same scale, but neither of them were actually good to each other when it comes to their relationship. And also, as Dracula pointed out at the start of season 5, she has this immense dark side to her, which I think is one of the reasons for her fighting off Spike for as long as she did, because she didn't really want to admit to that. She wants to obviously be the hero, and in order to be the hero, you can't really embrace the evil, can you? Spike discovers that he can hurt Buffy now, because that obviously must be something wrong with her for this to have been able to happen, and don't get me started, it's so screwed up what happens. So they start beating each other up, and then they have a secret kiss, and then they make an entire house fall apart with the walls coming down.
Your job is to kill the Slayer, but all you can do is follow me around making moon eyes.
I'm in love with you.
You're in love with pain. Admit it. You like me because you enjoy getting beat down. So really, who screwed up?
Hello, vampire.
Yes, I understand symbolism. Obviously, we know what this is. To then her being disgusted with him and using him again and again, treating him like a shameful FB when he longs for a relationship with her.
Sweetheart? My, little Goldilocks? You know, I love his hair. The way it bounces around when... This flapjack's not ready to be flipped.
To her then cutting her hair to try and get him out of her life. Also, obvious wig is obvious. This was... wow. I could just tell as soon as he did that compliment, I was like, oh, she's cut her hair now. And that's all that terrible... Like, couldn't you have organised filming a bit better so you didn't have to resort to the terrible wig?
What exactly would you like me to do?
Just make me different.
When she turned invisible, one of the first things she did was go and screw him.
I told you. Stop trying to see me.
What is this to you? This thing we have?
What? We don't have a thing. We have this. That's all.
Do you even like me?
Sometimes.
And then, you know, obviously calling it off for good.
I'm using you. I can't love you. I'm just being weak and selfish.
Really not complaining here.
And it's killing me. I have to be strong about this.
For him to do the most abhorrent thing, which was the attempted grape scene in Seeing Red, this was awful. I'm not going to be able to include much of it, but I've truly hated it. It's canon now. It's brutal, awful, scary canon. And I can't look past it, regardless of whether or not he gets his soul back. And on that, actually, okay, so when Spike leaves to go on his whole quest or whatever...
Get nice and comfy, Slayer. I'll be back. And when I do, things are gonna change.
He has vengeance at the top of his mind. He wants to give Buffy what she deserves, and has been going on about how much he wants to punish her, how much he wants to hurt her, and we've seen him actually try and hurt her repeatedly anyway. So if anyone's trying to say that his soul was meant to be returned to him, those aren't the quests that you go on to actually get your soul back. Why would the test to get your soul back be about beating up to the death other demons and scary beings? Why would that be the test to see if you can get your soul back, as opposed to actually proving that you have morals, that you are ethically guided, that you have empathy, anything like that, to prove that there is potential there? No, instead it's like constantly fighting to the death. No, he wanted to be able to be a vampire again. So no, that is it in my mind. And I'm positive that in season 7 it's going to be about forming a relationship with them and all of that stuff, but I won't be able to get on board with that because this was bad. I like to allow people to learn, change and grow, but I don't know if this could ever be got past, to be perfectly honest with you. And I don't know why people would want that. I know that Spike is charming and hot and everything, but their relationship was terrible.
It's only a matter of time before you realize I'm the only one here for you, pet. You got no one else.
And that's coming from someone that really wanted Buffy to work, okay? You know how much I wanted this.
I mean, it's locked. We're supposed to check it.
I forgot.
I give you my arch nemesis.
Revenge of the Geeks, or should I say incels?
Wondering when Super Bitch would show up.
You really got a problem with strong women, don't you?
Nothing I can't handle.
Wow, this is really apt for the age of 2022, right? Well, are we sure that this was actually filmed in 2002 and not right now? Because we're living in this hell. What's happening?
What you did was sick. And just looking at you makes me want to vomit.
You sure about that?
Yes, God, yes, I'm sure. I love you, Master.
I love you too, baby.
Have incels really been a problem for this long? Oh wait, actually yeah, there was even a movie in the 80s where people did very similar things. Great. Ugh. What a perfect branch for a villain for this season. I really appreciated how toxic masculinity and misogyny was actually put on full display here. So we have Andrew, Jonathan and Warren. 3 sexually frustrated and unpopular white men who still act like teenagers. What's the worst that could happen? America doesn't have a bad history of dealing with that at all, do they? Right? Yeah, hasn't caused any issues at all. Warren was the one who made the Stepford Wives bot and then also the Buffy bot and also a replica of himself. He's got fantastic skills if he only could apply them to actual businesses or whatever else he wanted to get into, but instead the focus is on wanting to take over Sunnydale and mostly about having revenge on women.
So you 3 have what? Banded together to be pains in my ass?
We're your arch nemesis. Sees. You might beat us this time, Slayer, but next time.
Bring her on.
We could hypnotize her.
Make her a willing sex bunny.
I'm putting that on the list.
So they start out pretty small, more of an annoyance than anything, but it's that which is the problem. They are not taken seriously and not stopped early. They don't have a healthy support system around them, they shut everybody off, they just have this twisted, toxic mess between them. It escalates to becoming invisible, which has a whole host of issues, manipulation of this orb thingy, which he uses as revenge on his ex-girlfriend in order to make a slave for him, and attempted rape.
Yes, Warren.
Wait, what'd you just say?
I said yes, but...
What the? What did you do to me?
And then he red rums her and blames it on Buffy and makes Buffy believe that she's the one that did it. Also, did anybody else get reminded of Ted by him? Like from How I Met Your Mother? Or was it just me? So his frustration, along with that of his lackeys, grows until he gets revenge by brandishing a gun around, shooting Buffy and Tara. His lackeys go to jail and Jonathan, the confused, morally conflicted incel, feels that they need to repent. Warren gets flayed by Willow, which is, you know, bad, but we'll talk about that when we talk about Willow at the end because I really want to talk about Willow.
Bored now.
The real issue here is of course misogyny, and I appreciate how that was tackled in this season, like showing their flaws, showing that they're clumsy, but with enough determination and hate, these people can become incredibly dangerous. And who's to blame? Nobody else. Like, that's the key thing here, and I'm really glad that Joss didn't go down that path of like blaming women or blaming society or whatever. It's like, no, this is made by a string of choices by them, by shutting themselves off by this entitlement.
I liked it.
Oh, shut up.
Never felt you had the power with her. Not until you killed her.
Women, you know, you're just like the rest of them. Mind games.
You get off on it. That's why you had a mat on for the Slayer. She was your big O, wasn't she, Warren?
That granted does kind of get taught to boys, which is bad, which also made me think of, like, you know how they were unpopular in high school and had all of this stuff and these expectations for what women should do for them and everything. So Xander could have easily gone down this path, especially in season 1 of Buffy, but instead he actually became friends with girls as opposed to just seeing them as objects and just wanting Charlie XCX from them. So at least to me, that's one of the big redeeming things about Xander, because he could have honestly easily gone down this path, in my opinion. The frustration of not being able to, you know, quote, get all the women, and I suppose also having bad male role models at the time, because this was like 2002 and I did not do a trilogy on the 2000s for no reason. Create this imaginary world where everyone's against them and they're owed something, which isn't the case for anybody, but without objectivity it spirals more and more, and when people try to reach them, like, they shut them out. We've seen this play out in real life with the manosphere, sadly, and it's spreading to the point that billionaires who own companies, which are ways that we communicate with each other, are also spouting this same stuff of these misogynists. We're sadly living in a time where people like Warren have got power now, and that's the hell on earth. We're seeing the consequences of Silo in real life today. It's far scarier than any baddie that's been in Buffy before, but they were just seen as weak and inept fools before because everybody else grows with emotional maturity, but they remain stunted on purpose with this view.
Hey, what are friends for?
You ask me, they're for knocking you up and leaving you high and dry. Hello, lover.
Oh, boogie, 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 boogie.
I only got one more.
Hi, Dad.
Daddy darling, growing pains of fatherhood. Wow, how many women got a crush on Angel, or David, whoever you want to call him, after seeing him with a baby?
Angel.
I'm positive that there are people that were just fawning for this. Darla, of course, is this gloriously frustrated woman who never wanted to have a child, but is cursed with it. And I really love her acting. She is just so extra. But again, I was really glad to see her.
Is water okay, or did you want some blood?
She has to sacrifice herself in order for Connor to live and just whatever. So yeah, I was a bit sad to see Darla go, but she's cool. I like Darla. I mean, it's like destiny that this child is born, but everybody else wants it gone or to do something with it. But Daddy darling obviously doesn't, even though nobody knows what it'll be, a bringer of the end of the world. But, you know, everybody's still after the baby, which is a bit of a reflection on some parents who become all consumed with their child, like happens with Angel. He won't even let his friends hold Connor.
Wow. I'm sensing a serious mama bear vibe.
Yeah, we're all still waiting our turn.
But across the season, we do get to see really sweet moments, namely the development of Cordelia and Angel's relationship. Very much like a parenting partnership, and here I was saying they could just be friends. But it's actually her partner from the far off place where she became a queen because of her seeing powers. It's him who can actually figure out that they have a crush on each other. After also she gives him a makeover to make him look like Angel.
You and the Grusla are two totally different people.
Hello.
Who look exactly alike.
He's wearing my clothes.
He's wearing my clothes.
What? Oh, yeah, I didn't think you'd mind. Turns out you guys are about the same size. I think he's a little taller.
So Wesley gets shunned because he discovers that the father will kill the son.
Is it true? Will Angel really kill his son as it says in the prophecies?
That the vampire will devour his child is certain. The dark question you harbor is only when.
So he wants to protect Connor from Angel, which leads to Connor being kidnapped and taken to a demon realm. meaning that Angel can't forgive Wesley for what happened. I mean, it's understandable, but also foolish given they need his expertise, and he actually did it out of love and protection, intent versus impact and all that stuff, but yeah, it was sad seeing Wesley like this. Wesley almost went to the dark side. Now, Angel does try desperately to bring Connor back, but there's no way to enter the demon realm again. But then Connor, or should I say Stephen, as he's been renamed, returns in order to kill Angel, as his quote father told her about how evil Angel was. However, they do start to have awkward bonding over things. Like, he's got Angel's want for justice coursing through his veins too, but he's torn between alliances, like trying to manipulate Angel, but also kind of having a good time with him. This could be a reflection of adoption and the struggles of actually finding your birth parents. It could be a struggle of when a child is taken away from parents, when they divorce, and then discovering that again, and like that hatred and working through that, like all of those emotional strifes are done physically. Or this could also be interpreted, you know how kids grow up so fast, and one day they're like this tiny baby, and the next day they're teenagers and they absolutely hate you. So it could be either one of those, or any one of those three options, but interpret how you will. That's just 3 options I came up with. If you have another one, let me know. The turmoil and struggle that Connor goes through is really huge, but not as much as the special effects struggled sometimes with him running around the place. Wow, that was 2002. But then Connor's rage is all-consuming as he thinks that Angel killed his fake dad, even though he absolutely didn't, and he locks Angel into a box and tosses him into the ocean. But still, even as everything's happening, Angel's last words are still of love, which is fantastic when it comes to like actually displaying unconditional parental love, which is not really as common as people may think.
I don't blame you. Liar! Listen to me. I love you. Never forget that. Connor! Connor! Never forget that I'm your father and that I love you.
I really like the emotional maturity of Angel, even though obviously he's a broody boy, but at the same time it's like, I appreciate it, here for it. I'm interested to see what happens in the next season, especially since Cordelia got like alien zapped up to get called away to another place when she was about to confess her love to Angel, and I was just here like, is this Joss's revenge? Is that what's going on here? Because is she written off the show now? I want to know.
Willow, you're using too much magic. What do you want me to do? Just sit back and keep my mouth shut?
Well, that'd be a good start.
If I didn't love you so damn much, I would.
I wasn't lucky. I was amazing. And how would you know? You weren't even there.
If I had been, I'd have bloody well stopped you. The magics you channeled are more ferocious and primal than anything you can hope to understand, and you are lucky to be alive, you rank, arrogant amateur.
You're right. The magics I used are very powerful. I'm very powerful, and maybe it's not such a good idea for you to piss me off.
Willow and magics, the new hot drug for vengeance? Okay, so whilst I may be right about a lot of things in life, I was not right about the way that Buffy got brought back. There was no Snow White, there was no crossover extravaganza. I still think crossover extravaganza would have been good, instead of like Angel just going and moping and then having to beat up, what was it, monks? Like, it would have been so much better if there was like lots of crossover. I really did have a feeling that Angel had to be involved with that. He comforted her after her mother passed away. Come on! I was really expecting this. Instead, the thing that brings Buffy back is the will of friendship. And you know, possibly the inability to let go that makes them bring Buffy back. Specifically Willow's magic and unwillingness to admit failure in any capacity now. Her ego has grown quite a bit when it comes to her magic this season. Wow. She's using telepathy to be able to like tell the other Scoobies like how to attack the literal vampires around the place. Like, wow, she is incredibly powerful. Her magic grows ever stronger to the point where she doesn't want to do anything without it, as things take too long or they just lose their fun, much like can happen with hugs. She's okay with live sacrifice now. Her boundaries are no longer existing, like the liners adopt to her, and Buffy points this out when it's the whole like demon thing, and when she gets brought back, like, yeah, it was a lot. Now Giles worries about her and calls her out on it.
Do you have any idea what you've done? The forces you've harnessed, the lines you've crossed?
I thought you'd be impressed or something.
Oh, don't worry, you've made a very deep impression. Of everyone here, you were the one I trusted most to respect the forces of nature.
Are you saying you don't trust me?
Think what you've done to Buffy.
I brought her back.
An incredible risk.
And Tara breaks up with her because of Willow's inability to stop using magic for just a week.
Forget. So, you're not mad? About what?
Plus, Willow actually risked heaps of people's lives, not only her own, but also Dawn's.
Take that, Scuzz.
I personally didn't know that magic was addictive, but apparently it is. Apparently it's a bit like a hug. So, were they kind of like getting high every time that they were doing the spells previously? Is that what? Anyway, I know the old adage of all magic comes with a price, or consequences in this case, which makes sense of Spike's fear when he sees Buffy's been brought back from the dead, as he knows there's consequences for it, like that nothing is just like, ping, everything's fine now.
So wrong that she would have to get rid of what came back, and I wouldn't let her. Any part of that was Buffy. I wouldn't let her. And that's why she shut me out.
What are you talking about? Willow wouldn't do that.
Oh, is that right?
But after Willow brings back her furry friend and fellow witch, who we know as Amy, Amy is kind of a bad influence on Willow as they go on this very fun time when they go out and party after Tara's dumped her, obviously. They have a magic rave. I mean, fun, right? Iconic.
And Willow, she's a freaking amazing witch now. I couldn't even keep up with her last night.
Amy.
No, it's true. I mean, I can do some transmography, but she is messing with dimensions and everything. It was awesome. This blowhard dude, first she made his mouth disappear. Thank God. And then... I'm talking too much. Sorry. It's just been, you know, me and a bag of pellets for the last few years, so...
Then she gets introduced to Rack, who becomes fascinated with Willow's power. And explicitly, this is where magic is shown to be an addiction. Like I said before, Tara asked her to go for a week without magic and she can't. Also, I just want to say, like, where is the support? Because you've got AAA, you've got like other support groups, but do you have support groups for people addicted to magics? Because who is she meant to turn to? She had Tara and her friends, but Tara was always able to control like how she used magic. Who does she have to talk to about like this specific feeling? No one. But after what Warren does by killing Tara, she first off begs and then demands for Tara's life to be brought back.
She is taken by natural order. It is done.
No, there has to be a way.
It is done.
But you know, as she's mortal, it can't happen, which sends Willow on a vengeance rampage, which is completely understandable. What did I tell you? I told you that Tara would be the same trigger as what Willow was for Oz. I told you, and I'm right. I like being right. I think I've been right about 50% of the time when it comes to my predictions, so I don't know. This vengeance rampage, same bestie, that's why I was inspired by her today. She absorbs the magic text and she goes full on dark mode. She takes the magic from Rack, and if Tara doesn't exist anymore, the world shouldn't.
Well, if you do this, you let Warren destroy you too.
You said it yourself, Will. The magic's too strong. There's no coming back from it.
I'm not coming back.
Will, please, we'll get through this together.
We won't. Not your way.
Please, just no.
No more talking.
It's done.
And after she finds Warren, she tortures him in the woods, and I was really here for it because it was like this threatening vibe of like really honing like the damage that can be caused by just one little thing. And I wish that people that defend, you know, use would, you know, take this sort of thing into account, because it's just this little tiny thing that can cause so much terribleness. And yeah, anyway, if you couldn't tell, I am not really here for guns.
I think you need to feel it. It's not gonna make a neat little hole. First, it'll obliterate your internal organs. One tiny piece of metal destroys everything. It ripped her insides out. Took her light away.
Whilst I was here for the vengeance torture, I know that I'm not the protagonist. That was well established last time. But the thing is that Buffy and the Scooby Gang know that she can't take a mortal life, as it changes you forever. But she doesn't care, and she flays him anyway, which is gruesome and I can't show you. But honestly, we don't need Warrens alive in this world. I was actually kind of glad, because I'm like, he can't survive that. Can you imagine the hell that would be unleashed on Earth? Because he clearly has no limits. He's got no boundary that he won't cross. So as far as I'm concerned, be done with him. Again, I'm not the protagonist. This is a TV show, okay? I'm not saying like real life, I'm saying like in the TV show. So then she carries on her vengeance adventure, which is a lot of fun, especially when she's like driving a truck and all that stuff. And she wants to get Jonathan and Andrew, who are of course in jail. Now, Jonathan wants to repent. He's suffering with like feeling like they need to actually pay things back. I guess they're kind of useless without Warren, right? So if Warren's out the picture, it's kind of okay. And Jonathan would have come to his senses, so it's just Andrew that we needed to worry about. He kind of gives me like Smithers vibes.
I think women and semen don't mix.
We knew what you think.
Now, her grief, along with the sheer amount of power she now has, is completely overwhelming.
I know you were happier when you were in the ground. The only time you were ever at peace in your whole life was when you were dead. Until Willow brought you back.
She's lost humanity now. She's at that point where it's just one thing she wants to go after. And she uses a lot of power to get to that point.
And there's no one in the world who has the power to stop me now.
I'd like to test that theory.
Butting in on things that don't concern you?
You concern me, Willow. Stay on this path and you'll wind up dead.
Nothing can hurt me now. This is nothing. It's all nothing.
But guess who can actually stop her? Xander, because he's faced his own demons and now he's ready to face whatever comes his way, which again is the importance of personal growth. We love good PG over here. It's this empathy for her, it's this open heart, it's this unconditional love that saves her, because she doesn't think it can exist anymore. But I mean, of course it can. It's just, yeah, you have to deal with the emotions and the grief. And she got stuck in the anger stage for a very long time.
I know you're in pain. I can't imagine the pain you're in. And I know you're about to do something apocalyptically evil and stupid. And hey, I still want to hang. If you want to kill the world, well, then start with me.
Given how addicted she was when she didn't have very much power, do you think that she'll be able to give up like all the power that she has now? Because she was hooked from a small amount and now she's got all this amount of power and she is feared. Like, it brought Giles back because of a coven, like, to try and stop her. Like, she is feared amongst witches now. So I don't know if she'll be able to actually step back and fully come out of villain time, because what help does she have for this addiction? Like, especially when she's got such capacity for power. So anyway, I'm just really interested to see what happens in season 7. So there are some things I'm apprehensive about, obviously when it comes to Buffy. But what I'll be doing for the next one, okay, I need your feedback on this. For the next video, because I'm going to be watching season 7 of Buffy and seasons 4 and 5 of Angel. I think there's only those 2 seasons left. So that will all be in one video. And then, because at that point all of the spoilers will be out the way for me. So after then, do you want me to include whatever tea I find in that video? Granted, it will be like an hour long, I'm guessing, and then the tea. Or do you like a separate tea video, which I'll try and keep to like 20 minutes? Because I just want to know what sort of thing you're after. I'm thinking of like a retrospective and then a tea video, but you tell me. And also, do you agree with the points I made in this? What were some of your favourite moments from this season? Because, like I said, once more with feeling, I had so much fun with that. Can they sing on key?
It's getting eerie, what's this cheery singing all about?
No, but I love musicals. I don't know what else to tell you. I love camp. It was so fun. So yeah, let me know what you think. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? If you do disagree with me, fantastic. The world should not all be the same. I think that's really good. Unless you think that the incel people were in the right, because I think that you may need some therapy and maybe to touch some grass if you believe like the incel people were right. Okay, anyway, have a wonderful rest of your week. I will see you again very soon and take care of yourselves. Bye!
Those guys are checking you out. What? What are they looking at? The hotness of you, doofus. Those boys really thought I was hot? Entirely. Oh my God. I'm cured. I want the boys.
You worked your job so well. Finally I knew everything I dreamed was true. You make me believe.
Spike!
What are you doing? Help him.
I did. You might have let me in on your plan while he throttled me.
Oh, poor Watcher. Did your life pass before your eyes? Cup of tea, almost got shagged, cup of tea.
Yeah. Did you make a wish? I sure did. Jude Law was a little busy, huh?
Oh, how disappointing for you. Well, I guess you won't be wanting the presents.
Oh, wanting presents.
It could be witches, some evil witches, which is ridiculous, because witches, they were persecuted, wicked, good, and love the earth and women power, and I'll be over here.
Try it again. Only this time, remember your breathing.
That's all schools are, you know. There's factories spewing out mindless little automatons who go on to be very valuable and productive members of society, and you should go.
I need to learn how to fight.
You don't think that I would?
Would what?
Save you.
Men folk not always around to protect the women folk.
Hey, Willow's getting pretty strong, isn't she? Bringing you back. It's hard to get a good night's death around her. You're not staying then?
We missed you. You can't have the store back.
I know.
You signed papers.
I did.
Oh, no wonder I'm leaving you.
What?
Look, one-way ticket to London and out of this engagement.
All the nerve.
Hiding in a pipe from a vampire. And I think I'm kind of gay.
You are gonna want these too.
So long, copper.
No one would even bother to look at me twice with you around. Exactly. No, that's just not true. People will notice you.
I had muscle cramp. Buffy was helping.
A muscle cramp? In your pants?
What? It's a thing.
I was trying to avoid a scene, really.
Like we'd make a scene. And a monster, sort of a Sunnydale souvenir, we thought.
Grr, arg. You can't charge innocent people for saving their lives.
Spider-Man does.
He does not.
Does too.
Does not. Xander?
Action is his reward.
I hope we make as much tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Oh, post-holiday clearance. The cornerstone of retail.
You do this every night?
Every time I close out the cash register. The dance of capitalist superiority.
Did you know about this?
No. Unless I blocked it from my memory. Much as I will Xander's vigorous use of his tongue.
Is that why you're always cleaning your glasses? So you don't have to see what we're doing?
Tell no one.
Promise to love you, to cherish you, to honor you, but not to obey you, of course, because that's anachronistic and misogynistic. And who do you think you are, like a sea captain or something?
What does it look like I'm doing, you Nick? I'm exercising, aren't I?
Exercising. Naked. You know, kidding aside, Spike, you really should get a girlfriend.
About my loan. I'm not saying I'm charging you for saving your life or anything, but let's talk rates.
He still turned you down? That's crazy.
Sleepwalk through my life's endeavor.
How can I repay you?
Whatever.
I don't want to get in trouble with those affirmative action lawyers, you know what I'm saying? Why don't you put little Brittany here on Holland duty?
It's Buffy. Basically, I'm just trying to learn everything I can, you know? Because I don't want just a job. I want a career, you know, something I can really grow into. I mean, I never thought I'd be working in construction. You know, when you think about it, it kind of makes sense.
Hey, we get paid by the hour. You want to ruin it for the rest of us? Slow down.
Wait! Don't you want your garbage?